Hi, I now give my spoken message part two of two, recent full Iran war. It's about the recent full Iran war. This is my improved spoken version of my previous full Iran war message, as it now is on 7th of April 2026. But first, I'll give you some important info that you need to be aware of. My name is Keith Emery. In November 2017, Queen's Hospital in Romford expected me to die after a, and that was after a cycle car crash. However, however, I was healed and restored to full health by Jesus. Jesus alone did that for me. Amazing. It, by November 2019, I had massively recovered health from Jesus, who then enabled me to reveal real truth of the times we are now living in, as the Bible declares. Jesus then enabled me to share serious warnings, explanations to you about these times. Because of the amazing healing by Jesus, I wanted to serve him in preaching this to you. The way I do this is to reveal what what has globally recently happened in the world, and that will soon happen, as declared in the Bible. About about today's I talk about today's fulfillments. I, I reveal all this in my spoken voice message and my writing. I now show the amazing recent events that have happened globally since my near death that's from 2019 until today. I show how we are approaching the time of the rapture, the events of the last 7 years, and the prophetic last days events that the Bible describes. I now give my next powerful spoken voice messages, part two. This full message, including the Iran war, can be read on my blog 985. This reveals Bible details of our time now. If you'd like to read this full article, please go into my latest Last Days Watchman blog.wordpress.com. So the whole message you type in is Last Days Watchman blog, all one word, .wordpress.com. Last Days Watchman blog.wordpress.com. And you can see my Christian messages. Please press the search key. So when you go in there, when you go into that page, you 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 can find the search key on that page. So go to the search key, then type 985 return. So type the word of the blog 985 return. Then request to look at the whole of 985 page. You can you can also you can also explore many other saved messages on the blog, which currently include pages 100 to 1010. This, this explains all the events that we have witnessed between 2018 to 2026. I now newly advise all the amazing things, all the amazing things God has shown me about the present Iran war, that's March to April 2026, as I start within my continued part two of the part one Iran war message. Russia and China will not get you've got to understand this. Although there are some reports about it, the Bible is very clear on this subject. Russia and China will not yet enter the war. They will not enter the war as they want to protect themselves. They actually want to protect themselves from the USA. This will continue until or if the USA become much weaker. According to the Bible, the Great War involving Gog and Magog will eventually involve nations such as Russia and others, but that's later. However, I believe that this full involvement will not occur until after the rapture begins. So, so Gog and Magog will come powerfully into realization, but that's after the rapture begins, after the last 7 years stop, or as a lead up to that time. But now, however, I believe that this full involvement will not occur until after the rapture begins, or as a lead up to that time. For now, the Iran war may remain a regional conflict rather than a full global war. Another important development involves the Jesus salvation situation within Iran itself. There have been increasing reports that large numbers of Iranians have become Christians, have become believers in Jesus in recent years. Many people inside Iran have expressed frustration with the existing leadership and the restrictions placed upon them. These recent new Iranians have even celebrated the fall or the death of certain leaders who were widely viewed as oppressive. It's right. This raises the possibility that Iran itself could undergo a new transformation in the future. Instead of remaining permanently hostile towards Israel, a different Iran could soon emerge. This new Iran might be far more far more supportive of peace with Israel. They might even assist Israel in stabilizing a larger country. Within Iran, there appears to be an eternal struggle that some describe as an old and new Iran emerging. The older system continues to resist change, while many ordinary people desire greater freedom. This struggle may continue for some time, and still is on the uh, on the 7th of April, but it'll soon be over. It's very clear it's going to be over soon. The Bible contains several references to our time now concerning Persia. Persia is the ancient name, the old name for Iran today. They used to be called Persia, they're now called Iran. The new name Iran has been used recently, but before I discuss Iran, read Ezekiel 38, we need to look at events that the Bible said would happen first. First, please look at Jeremiah 19:34 to 39, which speaks about events involving Elam. This was a terrible controlling region within the old ancient Persia. So, Elam was mentioned in the Bible in the time of Persia, and Elam is part of Iran now. Some interpreters believe this prophecy refers to a future time now when turmoil within Persia leads to a later transformation of a much better Iran. This may well happen very soon. This new and better cooperative Iran could help stabilize the new Iran for a time before Ezekiel 38 starts. Second, please note Daniel 10:13, which says, "The prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia 21 days." This short war that's going on at the moment, maybe more than that, but the first 21 days was a very special time of of Israel and USA winning the war. So the 21 days might be part of the whole thing. Does this mean that the war will end 20th of March 2026? Could the new better Persia Iran start at that time? Well, I don't know, but we're past that time now, and it could well be that everything was revolved and set up nicely to be so that there will be a freedom soon. It could have all been set up on the 20th of March, but I don't know. Third, next will be Isaiah 17, 1-2. This discusses that a time will come when the Syrian land of Damascus will fall. This has never happened before, but may happen at this time before the Iran war ends. This may soon be happening, which will then lead to the next event. Israel may experience a period of greater security before the next stage of prophecy unfolds. The rapture will occur before the final 7-year period, often called the tribulation. At the moment of the rapture, believers in Jesus Christ will be taken to heaven. This will include Christians from many nations, including those saved from Iran and those saved in the United States. Fourth, the Ezekiel 38 will be the final event leading up to the rapture. But before it does, the Bible suggests that Israel will experience a time of relative security, living in unwalled villages. Unwalled villages. That's never happened yet. That's never happened before. So, but we are told it will happen. Ezekiel describes Israel as living in a condition where the land appears safe enough and fortified walls are not required. After the rapture, the world will change dramatically. Without millions of Christians and their involvement in global leadership, things could shift rapidly. At that point, Russia, China, and other nations may gain greater influence over countries like a bad Iran. This could lead to the massive conflict described in Ezekiel 38 and 39, often that is called the Gog and Magog War. Despite the terrifying events described in prophecy, the Bible repeatedly emphasizes that God will ultimately protect Israel. Although the world may enter a time of great deception and hardship, God's purposes will still prevail. The Bible warns of a final period when evil will become extremely powerful, especially especially during the last 3.5 years of the final 7-year period after the rapture. This time will involve the rise of a global leader, often associated with the Antichrist, with an attempt to establish control over the world. This is why we first all we first all be this is why we must all be ready now and receive Jesus' salvation into our hearts and souls, not just into our minds, but into our hearts and souls. Yeah.